Now, here is the admissions. So typically what we do is this. At a very simple level, a 4-year bachelor's degree is sufficient for an entry, but it has to have a minimum of 60%. We also encourage people with master's degrees either through integrated master's programs or through the usual masters, in which you tend to have either a 3-year or a 4-year bachelor's followed by a master's to apply. And we very much welcome people with professional qualifications like chartered accountancy or cost accountancy or company secretaryships to also apply. Rather than discussing this in a lot of detail, there is actually a publicly available document on that particular link which spells out a lot of these things in greater detail. So this is basically the broad eligibility as far as getting into the program is concerned. There are also these tests which are required. One of these particular tests, see, there are area-specific differences with regard to which are the tests which each particular area would require. So at a broad level, you can see, for instance, that GMAT, GRE, and CAT is something which across areas remains the same. Certain other areas also are okay with the GATE, with the IMB test, and also with the JRF NET. But there are some differences, and this is also listed as far as the publicly available document is concerned. So once you have the tests done, then there is an area determined process. The area determined process looks at certain issues, like for instance, there are certain areas which welcome work experience, which look at work experience more favorably. There are certain areas which do not insist on that. There are certain areas which explicitly state that they look at maybe the prior research papers which a particular student, for instance, has published. So some of that criteria is also put up in this particular document out there. So what usually is done is you have a shortlisting as far as the area is concerned. That particular shortlist results basically in an interview call and a call associated with. Certain areas also have written tests as far as areas are concerned. So you finally make it to the program after you clear the area test if it's applicable and the interview, and then finally you're essentially given an offer if all of these particular steps are favorable in terms of your candidature. So the final selection is based on test scores. There are some of these linkages to past academic performance. Details are there in that particular document, area-specific tests, the interview performance, and some other requirements which as far as the area is concerned. The interviews will typically be held in the first half of April. Sorry, it should be 2017. And this will be held on campus out here. So you will have to live for the next, if you are successful, for the next 5 years with 29,300 plus 2,000 if you finish your proposal defense. So there is a financial aspect which you have to also consider. This is what essentially the institute can provide. Okay. But remember one thing. See, on the one hand, this is not great, but on the other hand, let me also tell you one thing. You are given a complete tuition waiver. If you take any of the other long duration programs, you have to pay to study here, which is several lakhs. Here, that's being waived off. Okay. To give you a benchmark comparison, the 1-year program is as much as 30 lakhs. So here, you are being taught completely for free. And there are few cases in this planet in which I can think of when you are being given money to do what you like. You're basically choosing your research topic, and you are being given the opportunity to spend your time doing that. Very few people have that luxury, in which you can do what you want and you're still paid. So while the pay isn't great, it gives you that particular flexibility. Now, what you get in year 1 is you're given some support to this extent of 75,000. It's typically used for spending money on laptops or software or whatever it is. It's to get you started up as far as the process is concerned. But it's fairly flexible. And then from years 2 to 5, you are given a contingency grant of 25,000. So if you add up all of this, it's fairly, I wouldn't say great, but we are reasonably comparable to what a lot of other institutes would offer as far as assistance is concerned. If you decide to stay off campus, then you can top up that 29,300 with 8,500 if you're single and 13,000 if you are married. We also give you support as far as conferences is concerned. As far as domestic conferences go, you can go to 3 conferences, each supported to the tune of something like 20,000. As far as international conferences are concerned, you have 1,50,000 for the first time, and then for progressive international conferences, we would be giving you up to 75,000. Of course, there is a process. It's not an entitlement. You have to submit it to a committee. The committee goes through it, and provided things are okay, they would sanction it accordingly. So you have conference support, both domestic, international. You have some HRA-related support if you choose to be outside campus. Let me also tell you that we are having constraints as far as campus accommodation is concerned. I mean, we are thinking about building more hostels and so on and so forth, but at this juncture, we are facing a severe crunch. And in fact, I'll be upfront with you that although the program duration is for 5 years, at this particular juncture, what we can probably guarantee is only around 3 years as far as hostel accommodation is concerned. We hope to be able to revive the situation, but at this juncture, that's something which I don't have a handle completely on. 3 years is what we can actually really only guarantee. Subject to, beyond that, it is subject to a lot of availability related issues.